How do we enhance the Web3 experience so that it is safe and enjoyable for newcomers? Now, I believe that the answer is in AI. And I totally understand that is the buzzword right now. Everyone's speaking about AI. However, we're going to discuss how AI will play a vital role in helping us bring blockchain technology to the masses. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So there are countless ways where I see that AI can definitely enhance the Web3 experience, whether it is in NFTs, crypto, or just analyzing everything all together. But there are multiple applications ranging from beginners all the way to the most advanced users. So I'm going to go through 10 different ways where I personally see that it's going to have. And the first one that I see is identifying patterns in fraud, because as we know that there is a lot of fraud, it is very rampant within the space, and there is a lot of tricky things as far as people not being able to understand those transactions that they're citing. There's email scams and all sorts of different things. So AI, I think, has the abilities to scan this information to recognize patterns. So, for example, if a particular wallet all of a sudden is getting a lot of assets after a certain type of transaction is authorized, and then they're dumping things very quickly on the floor on OpenSea, or just unloading things on an exchange or whatever it might be, you can definitely see that there are patterns for that particular wallet that it might be red flags. So when a person goes to sign this thing, the transaction could be identified as a possible fraud opportunity. And I can see this in a wallet per se. Let's just say MetaMask, because that's the most popular one, or Phantom. Those are the two popular ones. That when someone's getting ready to sign onto a transaction, that there might be a little warning that pops up red and says, you know what, this might be a high risk one. You might want to double check to confirm that what you're doing is sending to a verified source and so forth. So I think that'd be a great integration, and something as simple as the color of the browser window actually changing when a transaction is going to get ready to sign. Let's say green meaning very low, yellow meaning is probable, and red meaning, you know what, stop, do your research. This could be a horrible time. So the number two thing that I see is trying to predict engaged demand, because we're trying to avoid these gas wars. If you've ever been in a gas war, especially if you came into the peak of the NFT craze, it was absolutely horrible. Sometimes you are paying way more for the gas than the actual asset's even worth. The best example that I could possibly think of this is when the Bored Apes, or I should say Yuga Labs, dropped their land for the other side, and that was absolute disaster. I remember being in spaces, and countless other small projects, some small artists and musicians were getting ready to do their very small, let's say 100 collection or whatever it might be, and well, they happened to pick the same time that other side deed was dropping, and people were paying tens of thousands of dollars to get through transactions. It was absolutely ridiculous. So being able to analyze, let's say, the sentiment of what's going on Twitter, seeing that if a lot of people are speaking about a particular mint getting ready to drop and the activity is gearing up towards that on the blockchain, scanning the Ether scan or whatever block explorer for that particular chain, using all of that data together and just really understanding how much is it a demand, what's the likeliness of there being a rush for this particular drop or particular moment, or some breaking news that might have everyone tweeting about it, that's going to cause everyone to flood to whatever Uniswap or whichever DEX they might be using to then dump some coins. It could give out a bit of a warning. And in case of someone who is doing some, let's say, full-time trading, someone who is 100% sold out for DeFi, maybe this might be a business full-time, and their whole model is trading tokens. Well, being able to predict when gas is going to be high is going to be very important, because it's going to limit the number of trades that you're going to do, because obviously high gas means less profits and so forth. So having AI scan this information and give a forecast as to when gas would be high, I think would be very beneficial. Number three would be sorting through the Block Explorer information. As I said, all the stuff is readily available right there on the Block Explorer, whether it is Etherscan or SolScan or any other blockchain for that matter. The beautiful thing about this is a public available ledger, so anyone that's connected to the internet can see what kind of transactions are going down. However, there is so much data, so much information that is absolutely ridiculous, and sorting through that could be a nightmare. So by the time you're ready to make your decision, the opportunity that you possibly saw is already gone. So having AI to be able to help to scan to find certain things on the Block Explorer, I think would be very beneficial. And it doesn't matter which one it is. Actually, a lot of the other ones is even much worse than looking for transactions on Etherscan. Etherscan is pretty much for the most part a low volume block explorer because ETH is not doing the type of volume, let's say a Wax or a Solana or any of those are doing. So if you really want some information to sort through on those, it is a complete nightmare. So AI could definitely help on that, just speeding through exactly what you're looking for. Number 4 is just forecasting the market. Of course, no one's trying to predict the future. There's no way to time the market. And anyone that thinks they can time the market is someone who is about to be very upset because they're probably going to lose money. So what I want to say is forecasting the market, though, however, is seeing certain things. Like, let's say seeing the correlation between when the stock market trades or tends to go up or down, or let's say some breaking news with presidential elections or the price of gas, things like that. Again, scanning to see what is the public sentiment, because a lot of this is emotional trading, and having the most data that is feeding into a real-time decision is what's very helpful. That's the beautiful thing about the human decision, because a human can look at multiple points of information. So not only is there the raw data as far as what the numbers are saying on a spreadsheet, but then also there's the breaking news, then there's the sentiment of what's going on Twitter. Then, of course, there's certain things that numbers cannot detect, such as the negative words that people are using on Twitter. Now, this is not just about likes and retweets. This might be the difference between someone using the word of extremely excited to I'm curious about. So yeah, in both of those tweets, something is being mentioned, so they cannot be counted the same. So AI to be able to sort out through all that to weigh particular words as to positive, bullish, or bearish, or neutral could be very beneficial in trying to forecast where something is going. Number 5 would be customer service. That is something that we could see not just in Web3, but everywhere for that matter. But particularly in Web3, when you're going into these Discords, a lot of the times when you have to do a support ticket or whatever it might be, sometimes it could take hours or even days for the team to respond, depending on the volume and the size of the team. So having AI fully trained on that particular project, whether it is DeFi or it is actually an NFT project, having all that information, the white paper, the database, the logs, the notes, everything that's publicly available, let's say the founders' meetings, town halls, all of that stuff could be put into a transcript form, and this AI is sifting through all of that. So if a person wants to ask, well, when is this going to drop? Boom, right away, you can get an answer. Or, well, I'm having a little trouble connecting with MetaMask. Then you say, well, you know what? You could try using the Trust Wallet because that's the one that the contract is actually set up for using, or whatever it might be. All that information could be fed into it and give a quick response. And then, of course, if the problem isn't resolved, a live person can step in. But I think a lot of the times, the problem is not having the information out and available. It is being able to find it. So an AI can sift through all of that, just like when you're going through ChatGPT or now with Bing Search, if you have access to that. And it's going through all that information on the web and finding a concise, short answer, and then even gives you the link to that answer would be just great. So just imagine now you're on Discord, you're asking a question, and you just weren't able to find where the founders put up that information, and you ask it, say, hey, this is what I'm having the issue with, and so forth, and it gives you the link to that exact post or whatever it might be. That would be very beneficial from a user experience standpoint, and it would free up the team to then deal with the things that are much more pressing, much more urgent, and in need of their attention. And while we're on the topic of that, let's go to number 6, Discord moderation, right? So a lot of things are happening in there that is pretty much automatic. For example, you can have them instantly remove links or any sort of thing that you don't want necessarily shared. Someone's trying to do a fake project or really distract or anything of that. Well, the computer can actually remove that automatically. But when it comes now to AI, again, as with the tweets, understanding the sentiments of words and weighting different things and all sorts of variables that might be in play, you might be wondering, okay, well, is every single one a blanket statement? A bot has a nice, easy way of just deleting every link. But what if this particular link was something that was to, let's say, the team's website? Or the link was to a Twitter space. You know, a lot of times certain things that does get removed from these automatic bots is something that is actually beneficial and very legitimate. So I think AI could play a great role in doing that sort of thing, or even in the sense of, okay, we're not talking about official links or anything of that nature, but what if someone is in there and is clearly fudding the project for the sake of promoting their own project? That might be something that might be a little bit more subtle and might go undetected by the team, especially if this is a fast-moving Discord with thousands of different comments and posts and so forth, and there's a whole bunch of channels. But having AI to, let's say, pop in there and just counter something and say, hey, you know, This particular post might be a little bit misinformed, but here's some information that might be countering that. It's just another way that can actually help the team to respond to something on the fly before a lot of people see it, get the wrong information, and so forth. And if needs be, then the team can go in, can delete that or whatever it might be, or directly address that person, maybe kick them out, because people are very crafty, right? So sometimes they might try to mask it to look like, oh, they're just trying to help or whatever it might be. So AI can definitely help to just give a quick response. Not saying that you have to ban that person or kick them out or delete the post, but just give a quick response so that way if anyone does see it, they're not misinformed and might even just leave the Discord or leave the project altogether. Just hop on to the next thing. Number 7 would be recommending some potential things of interest, because let's just say this is someone who is very active in Web3 and they're using their wallet for NFTs, they're logging into various platforms and so forth. Well, if there's something that is on the horizon that might be of interest to a person, so for example, let's say sports. I'm a very big sports fan. If I have some sort of AI assistant in my wallet or even a personal AI that is helping me to do various transactions, trading, or analyzing if something is fraudulent and whatnot, well, wouldn't it be great if it sent me a notification, say, hey, heads up, ESPN is doing a drop that you might be interested in. It is your favorite team or your favorite player. And in the past, you've collected XYZ. So maybe this is something that would be interesting to you. It drops on the 14th at a price of ... Check that out. I think that'd be very cool. It's an assistant because so many things are happening in this space. So much news is breaking. Projects are going and coming. So having a little personal assistant, if you will, an AI, send me a little notification, a little heads up of something that I might have missed, I think would be a great thing. Or even the sense of airdrops and claims, right? There's so many Discord servers to keep track of. So wouldn't it be great if I'm linked to all of these using these verifications and I say I'm a holder in 21 different forums or 21 different servers, I should say, to have the AI be able to notify me and say, hey, there's an airdrop coming up for the Lazy Lions. There is a whatever coming up for the Apocalyptic Apes. There is a party coming up for the 90s Babes. Whatever it might be, I think that'd be a great thing to help to keep track of all this stuff, because if you're a fan of a project, doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be in Discord or following everything on Twitter 24/7, but to have these things come to you, because a lot of projects are still not using SMS texting or email or the traditional stuff. So having AI help to sift through all that, send notifications would be very beneficial. Number 8, automated portfolio management. Now, this is something that's really reserved for the big boys, if you will, the big brokers that are trading in and out of things. This is a financial tool. So a lot of the times those trades, stock markets, bonds, gold, derivatives, whatever it might be, options, those aren't even done by humans that are sitting behind a computer. Those are algorithms that are set up to trade based on all those other things that I was saying, sentiment and market movements and percentages and all sorts of things. So just imagine if you had a smaller version of that, a personal version, which was helping to automate something for you, such as checking the floor prices of your NFTs, saying when it's at an all-time high, because let's say you have a wallet of 500 NFTs. Do you know how hard it is to keep track of everything, to say, hey, this project that you thought was done and you had it on your hidden tab is now at an all-time high and it is back and thriving. So, hey, if you want to exit, this would be a good time to do it. So why not, right? So set all that stuff up to say, you know what, I'm really not interested in this project anymore. However, if it ever hits 10 Sol or 3 ETH or 1,000 wax, whatever it might be, I'm willing to sell it. And it's no difference with DeFi as well, too, because let's just say you're at work when Solana decides to pump, some breaking news happens, SBF gets acquitted and I don't know, everything is back to normal and FTX reopens and Solana starts to pump, but you're sitting at your 9 to 5. Wouldn't it be nice if you had some sort of automatic system set up with your AI to know that this is when you're going to just unload it? So yeah, sure, you can set these things up in a centralized exchange with stop losses and market orders and so forth, but I'm talking about actually analyzing news, information, and sentiment a lot deeper than just setting a random arbitrary number and hoping for the best that it hits that. Number 9, something that would be more beneficial to a project itself would be content creation, because a lot of the times these companies, or I should say these projects that should be companies, are trying to sell NFTs without creating any kind of content whatsoever. They just rely on tweets and Twitter spaces, and that's it. But just like if you have a barber shop or you have a tire company or you're a plumber, it does not matter what kind of business you have, you can benefit from content. Now, the hard part about content is thinking of different ideas. A lot of people even ask, well, how do you even think of podcast ideas. You've done over 400, whatever it is. Don't you run out of topics to talk about? And truthfully, no, I don't run out of topics to talk about. But what I do run out of is time to research different things. So if I'm getting, let's say, news breaks fed to me, sifted through by an AI or something of that nature, that would help a lot because there is so much information to sift through, just as I was saying with the Block Explorer and all of that, that Google is just not fast enough in the sense that you're getting so much information. Some of it might be a little outdated and what have you. So it can speed up your time as to how to create some things, sift through information, brainstorm, and so forth. So it does not matter what level your project is, a small time artist with 51 of one pieces or a massive successful blue chip project with 10,000 NFTs, content is necessary. So AI can definitely help for that. And last but not least, something that I could literally make an entire episode about, but I think is obvious, pretty self-explanatory in itself, is that AI can definitely help with smart contracts. Now, you don't want your AI to write the entire smart contract, but if they can write code, they can analyze this stuff, they could see maybe some possible loopholes and potentials as to, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but there's a backdoor into your mint right here, or the funds are not secure. All someone has to do is tap into this area right here. So I think that'd be a great way. Of course, you still want to have a second person look over this. You want a real coder, not a real coder. You want a human being to be able to analyze this stuff. You don't want to just turn in the code as if, it's flawless what can happen with these AIs, because let's say you turn in a paper with what's written on ChatGPT. There could be a lot of errors. Now, let's just put that into the scale of a smart contract with millions of dollars or hundreds of $1,000,000 at stake. Now, you don't want to just have the AI spit it up, turn it out, and just post it on the blockchain, deploy it, and good to go. Let's go for mint. No. What you're probably going to do is use it as an audit, use it to help with specific things, or if you're reviewing a smart contract, not exactly sure, let's just say, well, where is the wallet that these funds are going to? Be able to look at that. You want to figure out if there's an additional contract somewhere that this one is drawing from. Well, where is that exactly? Help you to track down everything, find where everything is located. AI can definitely help with that very easily. And in the case of auditing, if you just want to double check the work that was already done, triple check, whatever you want to say, AI can make that process much more efficient. So a lot of heat about AI and all this stuff. Oh, it's just a buzzword. Everyone's talking about it right now. AI is not even technically a part of Web3. Well, AI is going to be a part of every single business. It's going to be a part of pretty much all of our lives. Truthfully, it has been for a long time, whether it is via Facebook face recognition, which they have shut down. However, that's still running in the background. You can't tell me otherwise. Or autocomplete on Google. I mean, AI is here to stay. It's just getting a lot more attention these days because they have some great user interfaces that are out there, just make it very accessible for people. However, it is just a tool and we should embrace it. Although it is not decentralized web and it is all about Web3, no, but even in Web3 with NFTs, this is something that we're going to use. So as far as tools go, if you're looking for some great tool sets to use on Ethereum, they'll help you to unlock the full power of ETH, and that's at niftybusiness.show/unlockETH. Of course, you can make your life easier by just looking in the show notes and you can see the full link right there. But as usual, I just want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. Until next time, later. The Nifty Business Show is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.